I feel like I've tried to make this video like 5 times and I keep going on tangents. But I was just thinking about the fact that eventually I'm going to have to officially come out to my extended family, and even though I feel like the majority of my family who I've been like seeing recently in the past 2 years, 3 years since coming back from Toronto knows that something gender related or sexuality related has been happening with me, but nobody's really straight up asked me, and I haven't said anything like definitively about it. So I was just thinking about whether it'd be better to just wait until I'm visibly trans and then just deal with their reactions then, or try to be proactive about it. But I'd rather they say something to me than me say something, mostly because I don't know how to bring it up, and it's just, I just really don't like having to come out to people and having to say something, and I'm better on defense than offense about things like this, and I don't know, I feel awkward trying to find the time, like the right time to tell somebody that you're trans or tell somebody that you're queer, because there's never really a right time for that, more or less. So I was just thinking about it because last weekend was August. Last weekend was Easter, so I was visiting my aunt, and her children were there, which are my cousins, and all my cousins are older than me. They're all in like their 40s, and I'm sort of like the baby of the family, because my parents had me when they were older, and even though my cousins have kids, and their kids are like between 8 and 10 and stuff, up until them, I was the youngest of the family. So there's always a big age gap between me and my cousins. So there was never really, like, real, like, bonding between us and stuff. So there was never really real conversations that we had, and when I see them, the questions are just like, how's school? Good. How's life? Good. So I feel like that just really speaks to like how little we interact. I was mostly thinking about this because, like I said, I was visiting family and stuff, and one of my cousin's kids, so like my second cousin, she was like 9. I was on my phone and on my Instagram, and she's like, I want to see your phone. And I'm like, what? And she's like, I want to see your Instagram. And I didn't want to show it to her because, not because there's anything inappropriate, but just because I have descriptions like trans and queer and non-binary, and I didn't want her to ask me about it because I didn't think I was allowed to tell her about that, because I feel like her parents would get mad and say like, these aren't things that kids should know about. You know, that sort of, like, that's the kind of mindset of like my family and kids, and knowing about trans and gay people and queer things. So I was really just wondering if it was more or less awkward to come out when you're visibly trans, or to do it before anything and give people time or whatever. I don't like the idea of having to give someone time to adjust to me, but I get the adjusting to saying new names and new words. I guess it's because I don't see it as a change, so I don't understand what they're adjusting to short of words and sentences. And for them, it's like 2 different people, but I've never seen it as 2 different people, of like me pre-trans and me post-trans. And I mean like pre-knowing I was trans to knowing I'm trans. Like, to me, that's not 2 different people. That's just like another thing that I've learned about myself. I'm just thinking of it, me being trans this whole time and just knowing more about being trans. So that's like the weird part of it. I kind of feel like, personally, I feel like I'd be more validated if I just didn't say anything until I was visibly trans. Just because I feel like it'd be harder for them to dismiss my transition if I'm actively doing something about it, versus just saying something and I'm just talking about me and my family. I just feel like it would just be harder for them to tell me that it's a phase. I think the hardest thing for them to understand would be that I'm not trying to be a masculine man. I am not going to be portraying what their idea of masculinity is or what their idea of a man is, because I'm not going to be a man. And I think that in itself is going to be a tricky situation. And I just feel like it'll be easier to explain while looking visibly trans. Um, in my opinion, anyway. That's what I've been just thinking about, and yeah, so bye.